Hey everybody, Mike with Enviroscape LA. So here we are at what I would call the superhero garden because think about it. What does a superhero do? You ask Superman, his job is to save planet Earth. So over the last 100 years, we've actually put in non-natives gardens, at least here in California. We've created a food desert for the pollinators. Pollinators aren't eating, we're losing them. Lots of bees, for example. So if we don't bring the pollinators back, they're going to take us with them. If they die, they're going to take us with them. And so the reason I'm making this video is to show you that you can make a difference. So because of the historic drought that we're having, a lot of people are putting DG with a few succulents. That doesn't work, or worse yet, they're putting fake grass. You don't have to cut it, you don't have to water it, but it's not good for the environment. The superhero garden is actually a garden that has mostly native plants. And so what we're doing here is we've created a lot of native plants. We've created the drip irrigation system from Rainbird. We have a pollinator fountain. This is a basalt fountain that's going to get turned on shortly. Here's the only food for the monarch butterfly. This is the native milkweed. And if you live in Southern California, the El Segundo blue butterfly, it only has one source of food. It's this plant right here. And here's a salvia bonbon. That's another pollinator favorite. So it's very, very important to feed the pollinators. Superhero garden could also be known as or called a pollinator garden too. So it's extremely important. Once the plants get done, then you run the drip irrigation. And then once the drip irrigation is installed, you cover it with this beautiful mini bark. It's that attracts the mycorrhizal fungi. And then we also, at some point, lights are going to be replaced. Want to make sure that when we put the drip irrigation in and we put the mulch in, that we want to make sure that that the bark is not, right now we just lay this, but we're going to have to move this away from the root system too. And we have the designer here for this project. This is Marie. Hey Marie, you want to tell us a little bit about the plant materials or how this got inspired?
Well, you know what? First of all, this is one of my favorite things to do. This is where we really do the magic. This is the art, because if you plant a garden that doesn't bring you joy when you first walk out there and doesn't bring those pollinators in, you kind of lose the whole reason that we're making a difference, because it has to be two-part. It has to save the planet, it has to make you happy, so that when you look out. So we've got a lot of California natives here, and one I want to point out really quick to you is this is called buckwheat. And you know, I'm a big buckwheat pancake fan. And when we were here yesterday, this is the only food for the El Segundo blue butterfly, and the second we were just talking about it, a single El Segundo blue butterfly came over and landed. We're about 2.5 miles from the beach, and the memo went out in the universe, and that butterfly came over here, and we'll have a photo of it. I know Mike will be posting that. So we've got a lot of plants here. Another thing I want to point out is that we do have our Copper Shield technology irrigation underneath. It's going to go underneath about Memo's over there working real hard, putting about 3-4 inches worth of bark to cover it all up. And that's really key, really important for it to be way underneath, because the water has to go underneath the plant. We don't want to irrigate on top of plants. We want them to go underneath in the root system, so the mycorrhizal fungi is happy, the plants are happy, and a big communication system gets put in. This is going to be a pollinator fountain. The silicone's drying right now, but there's going to be water and food for all the animals on the planet.
And tell us a story behind this. It looks like a dry creek bed, huh? So you don't have to have something really fancy. Just put stones down, and it kind of has the illusion of running water.
Yeah, well, you know, if you can see, there's a basalt rock there. There's a big hole right in the center, and water's going to come out. Imagine that. and then it'll have that feeling that the creek is running down, but your heart and your mind is going to see that as water.
Great. Okay, and then the parkway over here, it doesn't have to just be dull, boring DG or fake grass, that worst thing you could ever
Oh,
imagine.
you guys, come on.
Okay, so what
You don't
is
wanna put, like, plastic
what
all
is
over.
going on here? It looks like there's a boulder with some plants, and then what is this stuff?
Oh, this is a carapia over here. Carupia. This is an amazing ground cover. And, you know, you see my size 6 shoe here. That's about, 14 inches of carapia. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. It's going to expand over here. It's going to cover all of this dirt. It will be a very, very drought tolerant ground cover along here where people are walking their dogs. You don't want to spend a lot of time, energy, money, or water on it, and it'll cover that. It does have a beautiful little flower.
Great, a little white flower. And then tell us the story, because people are like tearing out the grass because of all the water grass uses, but they're also tearing out their roses. Tell us a little story of, it looks like, now obviously these are not brand new, these have been here, so these are going to stay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mike. Here's the thing. The thought that you can't have conventional water-hungry plants is not true. In my very own garden, I have about 10 roses in my garden. They are established, so if you do have roses, these happen to be, I'm going to say at least 8-year-old icebergs, and they are very drought tolerant at this point. And they will survive with the irrigation that we've put in. And so you just want to be very careful with the kind of roses that you've got. We've got palm trees on this property. They are very well established. So if you do have established landscaping that you do want to keep, that you have a thing for, it can be integrated into your California native landscape, your drought tolerant plants. The most important thing is, number one, think about attracting the pollinators, because you know what? I'm actually hungry right now. Haven't eaten breakfast yet. The food that we eat is dependent on those pollinators. And the beauty that we have when we plant a garden is that you're saving the planet, and you're also giving a treat to your eyes.
Great. Well, thanks. It looks like your plant choices were amazing. And we'll have to do another follow-up. Come next springtime, when everything's had the benefit of the winter rains, we'll do another follow-up video to show you how amazingly beautiful this is. And it takes just a fraction of the water. Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care.